Your nervous system adapts to stress, not to ease. Your skills sharpen against resistance, not agreement. Your character forms in the gap between who you are and who you're trying to become. The warrior lived in that gap intentionally. This is the opposite of how we're taught to live now. We're told to avoid discomfort, to find our passion where everything feels easy, to quit anything that feels like struggle. But ease doesn't build capacity. It just makes you fragile. The warrior knew something else about the mind. It lies constantly, not maliciously, protectively. Your mind will tell you you're too tired when you're only uncomfortable. It will tell you to quit when you're simply bored. It will manufacture reasons why tomorrow is better than today. This isn't weakness. It's evolutionary programming. Your brain is wired to conserve energy, avoid threats, seek pleasure. These instincts kept your ancestors alive in a world of scarcity and predators, but they sabotage you in a world of abundance and comfort. The warrior learned to distinguish between the mind's protective stories and actual limitations. They developed what we might call discomfort tolerance, the ability to sit with unpleasant sensations without immediately reacting, not to become numb, to become discerning. Is this pain signaling injury or just effort? Is this anxiety warning of real danger or just unfamiliarity? Is this exhaustion physical or mental resistance? Different signals require different responses. Modern psychology studies this as interoceptive awareness, the ability to accurately read your body's signals. Athletes with high interoceptive awareness perform better under pressure because they don't misinterpret normal stress responses as panic. The warrior trained this awareness the same way they trained the sword, daily, deliberately, sitting in uncomfortable positions until comfort emerged, holding stances until the shaking stopped, breathing slowly when the body wanted to gasp. Small laboratories of self-knowledge. And then there was the warrior's relationship with time. We live in constant urgency. Everything is immediate. Every message demands instant response. Every goal needs to be achieved now. The warrior operated on a different timescale entirely. They understood that anything worth building requires time that feels unreasonable. A fruit tree takes years before it produces. A skill takes thousands of hours before it becomes effortless. A reputation is built through decades of consistent action. There are no shortcuts to depth. This created a strange kind of patience, not passive waiting, but active trust in process. They could train the same technique for months without visible progress, trusting that beneath the surface, patterns were forming. Neural pathways were strengthening. Understanding was deepening. Modern research on skill acquisition confirms this. Progress isn't linear. It's plateaus interrupted by sudden jumps. The plateau isn't stagnation, it's integration. Your nervous system is consolidating what you've learned, making it automatic, preparing for the next level. But you have to trust the plateau. The warrior also understood something about identity that we struggle with. You are not your thoughts. Your mind produces thoughts constantly, fears, desires, judgments, stories. Most of them are noise. The warrior learned to watch thoughts the way you'd watch clouds, present but passing, real but not permanent. This created distance, space between stimulus and response. When an insult landed, the thought, "I've been disrespected," would arise. But instead of immediately reacting, there was a gap, a moment to ask, is this true? Does this require a response? What would acting from clarity look like instead of acting from ego? Modern mindfulness research validates this. Studies show that even brief meditation practice increases activity in brain regions associated with emotional regulation and decreases reactivity in the amygdala. The gap between trigger and reaction widens. In that gap, you find choice. But the warrior's wisdom wasn't just about managing yourself. It was about reading others. They studied human nature the way a scholar studies texts. What makes people predictable? What reveals their intentions? What separates someone's words from their truth? They noticed patterns. The loudest voice in the room is often the most insecure. The person who constantly speaks of honor often has the least. The most dangerous opponent is the quiet one who watches. These weren't cynical observations. They were survival skills. Understanding human nature meant understanding what drives behavior beneath the surface. Fear, pride, insecurity, ambition, grief. When you see the wound beneath the aggression, you stop taking things personally. When you recognize that most conflict comes from misunderstanding rather than malice, you respond differently. The warrior didn't become naive. They became perceptive. They could hold two truths simultaneously. People are generally doing their best with what they know, and some people are genuinely dangerous and require boundaries. Compassion without discernment is weakness. Discernment without compassion is cruelty. The warrior walked the line between them. So what does this look like now? Today, in your life? It's not dramatic. It's the moment in traffic when you notice your jaw clenched, your shoulders tight, and you consciously release them. Not because traffic disappeared, but because tension doesn't help. It's choosing the hard conversation instead of the comfortable avoidance. Not because you'll win, but because clarity matters more than comfort. It's closing the tabs, silencing the phone, sitting with your own thoughts for 10 minutes, not to find enlightenment, but to remember what you actually want beneath the noise. It's showing up to the difficult task when motivation is gone, because discipline is just keeping promises to yourself. It's noticing when you're about to react from ego and pausing long enough to choose a response from clarity instead. It's training something deliberately, a skill, a habit, a capacity, not because you'll master it this week, but because you'll be different in a year. It's recognizing when someone's anger is really fear, and responding to the fear instead of the anger. It's sitting with discomfort long enough to learn it won't destroy you. Small acts, repeated daily. The warriors didn't measure life by conquest, they measured it by clarity. A clear mind that sees reality without distortion. A steady body that responds without panic. A direction chosen consciously, not inherited by default. When challenges arrive, and they always do, you have a choice. React from emotion or respond from presence. Rush from anxiety or move from clarity. Fight reality or adapt to it. The warrior understood. Presence, not force, was always the true weapon. The question is, what are you training right now? Your reactivity or your response? Your need to be right or your ability to be effective? Your comfort or your capacity? Every moment is practice. Every interaction is a test. Not of whether you're good enough, but of whether you're present enough to choose your response instead of inheriting your reactions. The ancient path is still here. Quieter than motivation, deeper than inspiration. Not in temples or dojos or distant mountains. Right here, in this moment, in the next decision you make, waiting for you to stop fighting and start practicing.